I'm Kerry Blaser, Mary Magdalene's soul. Thanks for joining me today. Please like and subscribe if you like my videos. The question I'm going to discuss today is, has the church been successful at teaching people how to love thy enemy and why? Yes or why no? Okay. So let's look at history over the past 2,000 years. A lot of war. A lot of heresy, a lot of killing, a lot of witches being burned, a lot of kings, in control of the church. Where's the love thy enemy, love thy neighbor? I mean, they're all church-going folk, right? Where is it? So, it's my determination that they have not been successful at teaching love thy enemy. And let's explore why that's the case. So, internalizing love thy enemy is shadow work, subconscious work. You have to train your subconscious to respond with love as opposed to hate when someone hates you. Okay? Jesus was very good at doing that, right? Jesus is a great model at doing that. Okay? I don't know much about Gandhi, maybe another example. Okay? There are people who can demonstrate at a high level of performance their capacity to actually love thy enemy. But I think most people still have a really hard time with that. And, the church has had 2,000 years. Why haven't they made more progress? Okay, so that's inside work, shadow work, self-reflection work. That's feminine work. As I discussed in my other videos, what happened was in the 2nd century, the movement became more imperial in Europe, and there were a lot of different sects of early Christianity that weren't well organized and controlled. And with imperial control coming, they wanted to organize the church into a hierarchy of bishops, all leading back, on a male line back to the apostles. Well, that's a problem because Mary Magdalene is a clear apostle in the text. And I'm going to argue that it was her wisdom that Jesus was relying on. Why? They were married. There's a lot of early texts that show that they were married. And men and women have both masculine and feminine. If you look at the yin-yang symbol, the white is the masculine, the black is the feminine. The black is the feminine, and then the white is the masculine. That little black inside of JC's soul is me. My intuition, my wisdom, my access to source energy, my access to God. Okay? God is everywhere. I'm the feminine. And then my little white spot in the feminine is him, is his access to knowledge, gnosis, wisdom, Sophia. Okay? So in the 2nd century, they suppressed Sophia, they suppressed wisdom and femininity to elevate masculinity, knowledge, or gnosis. Now, when they did that, they brought us out of balance because they took us out of the collective. If masculine and feminine are of the collective, then one can't be above the other because it brings out a balance. So if you move the masculine up, you automatically repress the feminine because we're energy bodies. So that's the counterbalance. And so what they did is they repressed the feminine, and then they, made Jesus king celibate because they had to, kind of remove his family and put him kind of like as the cross is the only ladder to heaven. So if you want to get to heaven, you got to go to church, you got to pay money, you got to do it our way. Now, what early Christians were teaching is I don't need a church to access the divinity inside of my soul. So my question is, how is the church helping people access the divinity inside of their souls to embrace the amazing teaching of love thy enemy? Because our enemies are wounded. We're all divine beings. We're all here as a collective together to understand ourselves as a school. Okay? So wounds are not punishment. It's how we understand ourselves. It's how we dive into our shameful emotions and then pull the wisdom out of those shameful emotions inside of our shadow, inside of our subconscious. And we would kind of, wounds are inverted wisdom. So I used to fear all men. That's a wound. When I inverted it, men protect me. Sure, some men are scary and I need to stay away from, but most men would protect me. And that is reality. That is living in truth. There's no cognitive dissonance there. It's not, oh, I call the policeman to help me, but my subconscious is telling me fear all men. That's cognitive dissonance. There's the problem. So again, I'll ask the question, how does the church teach and internalize in its church-going folk, love thy enemy? I mean, truly, let's look at the history of 2,000 years. Sure, there's loving thy enemy, but there's a lot of not loving thy enemy. Like World War I or World War II or loving thy enemy? No friggin' way. So, but there's the imbalance. They took control of teaching people to love thy enemy and love thy neighbor and, love God. How's that worked out for us? Oh, it hasn't. Lots of war. Women don't want to have kids now. The patriarchy, the women's suppression, there's all arguing, families destroyed. So we want to wonder, what is the second coming? The second coming is the restoration of the feminine. Me, divine feminine, Sophia, Mary Magdalene's soul. Okay? When we created that imbalance by putting men on top and putting women beneath, then we're both out of balance. So and neither of us are of the collective, because as a feminine, I'm busy being beneath the collective, and then as the masculine, he's busy being above the collective. So we have to come back into balance and both be of the collective. And then when men and women are of the collective, that's the equality women are talking about, but they can't articulate it. Why? It's my wound. I'm the lead divine feminine on the planet. I created that wound for us to see ourselves. JC and I did in the 2nd century. That was us. We came back. There's reincarnation. The Druze in Israel know. Jewish texts talk about reincarnation. India, Buddhism, Shinto, all kinds of religions talk about reincarnation. But Christians want to control. You got one lifetime, so get it right. That's control. You're a sinner. That's control. Okay? So open your hearts. Dive into your shadow to love thy neighbor. Now, I'm going to link below my 6 techniques for my 6 self-love techniques, and that'll help you get going. You can, buy my book if you'd like for $3, electronic copy on Amazon, and shoot me an email with any questions. I'm about to update my website. There's also links below with explanation about Mary Magdalene and all those signs and synchronicities, and a psychologist, doing my astral chart and having an analysis of me and my book and such. So, yeah, check it all out, and I'll see you in my next video. Okay, bye.